be over here at the hip and see hardware for the Delta IV that's going to take Orion into space in December this year. Now, the Orion spacecraft is over in the ONC High Bay right now, and it's going to be complete on time. Those guys are working 7 days a week. That vehicle is going to roll out of there, a complete spacecraft for EFT-1, Exploration Flight Test 1, in May of this year, and then it's got some more processing to get done as we put the launch abort system on it and prepare it to be mounted on the Delta IV. As you know, we slipped to December in order to accommodate the Air Force getting their mission off. But I assure you that Orion is going to be ready to go on time, and as soon as we get our opportunity, we're going to be launching that vehicle on its first flight test, and that is pretty darn amazing. It's just absolutely great to see it over there. But for me, it's really neat to walk in here and see the hardware that's going to take it to space and fly that first space flight test of Orion. Is pretty darn cool. Right now, it's my pleasure to introduce NASA's Associate Administrator, Robert Lightfoot, who was down here for an all-hands at the Kennedy Space Center earlier this morning, and he's got a few things he'd like to say about the importance of this mission. Robert?
Well, good morning, everybody. I appreciate you guys coming out to see our next step in our journey of exploration that we're pushing so hard as an agency. This is very exciting, as Bob said. I'm an old rocket engine test guy. So I've seen these RS-68s on the back end of these boosters test many times, so it's pretty exciting to see them integrated into the booster. And like Bob said, being in Washington, D.C. is always good to be down here and see some hardware, see the real end of the rocket. So we're excited about this mission. This mission is, we talk about the stepping stones to getting to Mars that we're trying to do here as an agency. And for us, this EFT-1 test is so important for us. We're going to take the capsule 3,600 miles away from Earth. We're going to bring it back at a re-entry velocity about 85% of what we expect to get when we come back from Mars. We're going to test some critical systems here. We're going to test our heat shields on the Orion spacecraft. We're going to get a good test of our separation of the fairing and of the launch abort system. We're going to exercise about 50% or so of the software and the systems, the electronic systems inside the Orion spacecraft. And we're also going to get a chance to test our recovery systems in the Pacific when we come back. We'll do two orbits around the Earth, and we'll bring it back and recover it in the Pacific. So pretty exciting to see this, and know that we're just here in this year going to take that first step. The thing that's neat about this is as we try to go on this path to get to Mars, we're looking at different ways to test systems, build capabilities, put them in place so that we can get there. Crews are going to fly on this rocket, or in this capsule in 2017. It's just an exciting time for us at the agency to do that. Between this and the asteroid redirect mission, another example to prove those capabilities that are just stepping stones to get to Mars. The budget we just released continues that bipartisan support we hope for what we're trying to do with human exploration, and it's just really exciting to see what we've got here. This test will be important for us. It'll also, the other thing that's really going to be good about this test is we're early enough along in the design process that if we find anything in this test, we'll be able to make corrections before we get to critical design review for the Orion spacecraft. So an exciting step on our journey toward exploration, and we really appreciate you guys being here to share with us. At this time, I'll introduce Tony Talianchin from ULA to talk about this process. Tony.
Morning, thanks. Welcome to the Horizontal Integration Facility for the United Launch Alliance Delta IV launch vehicle. What you're looking at is the Delta IV Heavy launch vehicle. These are two of the three core boosters that will launch it. Each of the engines, the RS-68A engine, produces about 3/4 million pounds, so there's a lot of thrust to be able to support this really important mission. And we're proud to be part of the team. Thanks for showing up today.
At this time, we'd be happy to take any questions that y'all might have.
Hi, Ken Kramer from Universe Today. Perhaps Bob and Rob could clarify. Will the, I'm sorry, is there still a chance to launch in September at all? Will the spacecraft be ready for a September launch, and it will only be delayed if the launch window is not available because of the Air Force?
Our plan is to have the spacecraft ready because we want to get EFT-1 out so we can start getting the hardware in for exploration mission 1 and start processing for that vehicle that's going to launch on the Space Launch System. Right now, talking to ULA, we're in about a 1-for-1 day slip as they process for the Air Force mission. So as soon as the vehicle's ready and the Air Force is done with their flight, we'll be ready to go. But it will slip in order to accommodate the Air Force.
Can you tell us about the job of these boosters, how they'll function in this test, what they'll do?
Sorry.
Tony, I'll let Tony talk about the performance of the Delta IV.
I do, but let's.
Can you tell me about the job of these boosters, their function, why they're needed, and what you'll be looking for in the test flight from them?
Sure. The Delta IV vehicle has a common core booster, so typically we launch a single core booster with an upper stage. On a heavy mission, we need a lot more thrust to overcome the force of gravity. And so for this particular mission, we're trying to get a lot of performance to support the mission profile that they're looking for to get the speed to come back into orbit. So this vehicle ignites 3 engines initially to get that level of thrust, and then you use the upper stage to actually give it additional thrust to get to the final orbit.
I mean, essentially, this is the biggest rocket we got that'll get us the most that we can without flying on SLS. To get that vehicle out, as Robert mentioned, 3,000 nautical miles from Earth to get that 85% lunar reentry velocity to check out the thermal protection system on it. So that's the importance of the Delta IV. It really is a heavy lifter.
I think both my Jason Ryan from SpaceflightInsider.com. Both my questions are a question of time. The first one is, we know that you guys are going to be using the Delta IV Heavy to get Orion up to test the avionics, the heat shield, parachutes. How much emphasis is being placed on making sure that you know what needs to be done to Orion before crew go on it, and how much of it is a test of technical aspects?
So, well, again, as Robert mentioned, we got to check out the vehicle in steps. We don't have an environmental control system on this vehicle. So we'll get this test, that'll lead to EM1 on the SLS where we get even more. Again, it's a question of funding, what we have available, what we've developed in order to fly in a progressive stage where we get to EM2 where we can actually fly in the 2021 timeframe with a crew on board.
Bob, last question is, with this slip which is caused by the Air Force's, their mission, is the 2017 first launch of SLS still solid, or is that moved around any way because of this delay?
Yeah, we're continuing to press toward a December 2017 readiness for SLS, but of course this is an integrated stack. We've got to have the capsule, we've got to have the ground systems ready as well. So we're still pressing toward that from an agency standpoint.
James Dean, Florida Today. What's the cost of the FT1? And
I'm not sure I know the cost off the top of my head. What we've done from the agency's perspective is Lockheed Martin, who's the builder of the Orion capsule, has purchased the rocket and is providing the data back to NASA. That's the arrangement that was set up on this one. I just can't remember it off the top. We can get that for you, though, I'm pretty sure.
And Mr. Cabana, I think you said we're already going 7 days a week on Orion to get ready. Is this slip maybe a good thing for the Orion team to have a little more cushion there? Or, what's the 7-day push necessary for?
The team just, again, we're working to get it done. It's on schedule, and Lockheed Martin is going to deliver that vehicle on schedule.
Hi, Stephen Clark with Spaceflight Now for the ULA representative. Can you sort of discuss the mechanism for the manifest swap between the Air Force mission and Orion? Does the Air Force come to you and ask, we need this slot for a priority mission, can you move something else out of the way? How does that work?
Okay, I can just speak from the ULA standpoint that we support our customers' requirements. We provide a lot of options. Those options for this particular situation were provided to both the Air Force and NASA, and this is the order that they chose. We are continuing to provide the flexibility to back up should something else change between now and then, and whatever we're asked to perform will be there.
I think, Stephen, on our side of the house, what we do, we're in constant communication with the Air Force and other folks to work the range. We have a range planning activity between us and the Air Force that we work with, and these kind of discussions go on all the time.
And perhaps for Robert Lightfoot. When is Orion CDR? You mentioned this won't have much of an impact to getting inputs from EFT1 into the CDR, but obviously it's a few months closer to the CDR.
Yeah, they're coming to us at the agency level late this summer with their PDR results, and then that'll start the CDR process, so the timing is about right to get the input into the CDR process. The CDR will take a year and a half or so to get to it.
All right. Well, thank you all for coming out today. Oh,
Can I ask a question? Is it specifically a Delta that is going to take the September time slot? Yes.
Yes, the firing sequence at this point is a GPS 2F6 mission, an Half Space 4 mission, and then EFT. So that's the Delta 4 flying.
Okay, I got one more question. Can you talk about the availability of the RD-180s from Russia for the Atlas, please?
I defer that question to another, or it's different for this mission. Delta 4 doesn't fly the RD-180.
I know, but the Atlas does. Your ULA, right?
Can we?
RD-180. Okay.
all right. Well, once again, thanks for coming out today. It's really great to see spaceflight hardware, and we're looking forward to the successful launch of Orion on EFT1 later this year. It's going to be outstanding. Thank you.